At first, it seemed like a tragic coincidence. A handful of people in a small town developed a rare form of cancer. But when neighbor after neighbor received the same diagnosis, they were convinced a cancer cluster had developed in McHenry, Illinois. Now they think they know what made them sick. Here's our national correspondent, Byron Pitts.
46-year-old Sandy Worski, a once energetic, healthy woman with a career, husband, and a child, is dying from brain cancer.
I don't know what the future holds for me anymore. You know, I'm just living from 3 months to 3 months and hoping I can make it another 3 months.
That's how her neighbor Brian Friend is living. He too has brain cancer. Neighbors on both sides of him also developed brain cancer.
And at that point, between us and the Branhams and the Weisenbergs, we just knew that something was far out of the ordinary. You live from MRI to MRI.
And there are more cases.
My name is John Stepp. I got glioblastoma.
More than a dozen cases.
I'm on my second brain tumor.
This is amateur video of residents in McCollum Lake Village. Every person you see here either has a brain tumor, lives with a relative with one, or lost someone to brain cancer. Here in a community of 1,000 people, 14 residents have developed brain cancer. Nationally, the rate is roughly 7 out of 100,000. Coincidence?
Absolutely not.
Attorney Aaron Freiwald. He represents the McCollum Lake Village residents in their lawsuit against multi-billion-dollar chemical company Rohm and Haas. Rohm and Haas has had a plant here since 1963. They make specialty chemicals that are used in a variety of industries, from plastics to pesticides, with 140 different facilities in 27 countries.
These people who lived in McCollum Lake did not know what was going on just a mile or so away. They didn't know. They didn't know until people were found to have brain cancer in these really striking numbers.
The company admits that for 20 years, ending in 1979, it dumped toxic chemical waste in this 8-acre pit on its property. The groundwater beneath the plant was polluted with gallons of chemicals. Some are known human carcinogens. In May, the county tested only 14 of the 400 water wells around McCollum Lake Village and found no contamination. But local residents say no testing was done during the time Rohm and Haas was dumping chemicals.
They knew that there were chemicals in there that were dangerous.
Whatever's happening here in McHenry, Illinois, seems to be going on more than 800 miles east in Philadelphia, and not outside a Rohm and Haas plant, but inside.
The doctor knows right away there's something terribly wrong.
And it was a brain tumor?
Yes. It's the saddest day in my life.
Lee Shu's husband, Charles Shu, was one of 12 research scientists who has died of brain cancer in the past 30 years, working here at the Rohm and Haas facility north of Philadelphia. At least 5 of the 12 researchers worked on one hallway in this one building, building number 4. Shu's supervisor, Barry Lang, also died of brain cancer. His widow, Linda Lang, and several other widows are suing Rohm and Haas.
I think there could be a cancer cluster there. You know, Charles Shu worked for my husband. I'm not a scientist, but the numbers alone make me question it.
Corporate whistleblower Thomas Haig.
I was lied to, I was given the runaround, I was stalled, and I was brushed off. I don't brush off easily.
Haig is a trained chemist and former executive at Rohm and Haas. In 1996, he wrote the company's chief of medicine about a possible brain cancer problem at the company. But it wasn't until 6 years later, when 2 more scientists had died from brain cancer, that the company decided to conduct their own study.
I think the company is wrong from end to end. I think they have committed fraud and not alerting their own employees.
Rohm and Haas Chief of Health, Dr. Phil Lewis.
For anyone to suggest that there was anything other than the best science here, they really don't know what they're talking about.
That makes you angry?
It does. I mean, it's an insult. It's absurd.
All these research scientists on one hallway in a small space develop brain cancer.
Well,
coincidence?
Well, first thing, it is important to understand that that could be a coincidence.
Dr. Lewis says Rohm and Haas conducted its own internal investigation in 2002 and again in 2007, but found no link between the cancer cases and the company. But the federal government told Rohm and Haas those results were seriously flawed. NIOSH, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, a federal agency responsible for preventing work-related illnesses, called for an independent study.
It gave us some good ideas. I mean, it was a good, helpful exchange.
My reading of their findings is they were critical of the company. I mean, they use phrases like highly unusual, unsound, disturbing, scattershot approach.
Yeah. The terrible thing to understand is that when scientists talk to themselves, it can get pretty ugly.
Dr. Lewis sums up the cancer cases in McCollum Lake Village and in building number 4 as likely coincidences. But the company has commissioned an independent study.
I'm about, let's keep people well, right? And if there's something that's wrong that's out there that causes them to get sick, let's find what it is and deal with it. You know.
But if the company is responsible, and this is a $9 billion company,
yeah,
you could lose a lot of money if you're proven to be responsible.
Don't care. Don't care. I could tell you right now, if I thought there was something here that was causing those cancers, I'd shut that building down. That's what this company is about. Do the right thing.
The folk in McCollum Lake Village will
Yeah.
watch this story.
Right.
What would you say to them?
I can sympathize with everyone who says, I got to find a cause. I got to know what caused this. What I do know is that there is no exposure in McClellan Lake to anything at our plant.
You're 47 now.
Mm-hmm. They told me after the diagnosis that the average prognosis is 3 to 5 years. So I've got 3 so far, and there's no guarantee on the rest.
For Brian Friend, the widows in Philadelphia, the neighbors in McCollum Lake Village, all agree there are no guarantees they'll find what caused these cancer cases. Is it a coincidence or something more? It will be up to science or the courts to decide. Byron Pitts, CBS News, McHenry, Illinois.